Why are things the way they are? Why are we okay with this? And why do we encounter resistance when we try to improve things? The answers that we've received over the years are not good enough. They're not good enough for RFK, they're not good enough for Dr. Oz, and they're not good enough for Gen Z. MAHA is about making our healthcare match the greatness of our nation.
Come on, that's incredible. Thank you so much for that insight. And Gen Z has such an important part in influencing and leading MAHA and really defining what it can be, because we really are the next generation. And if you look around the Capitol, I mean, it's basically all people in their 20s writing, submitting, turning policy over. And so can you tell us a little bit about how Gen Z can fit into the MAHA movement and then champion it and take it further?
That's a great question. Gen Z is an icebreaker generation leading us into this brave new era. We are going to face challenges and have faced challenges that no generation has ever faced in human history. We also have advantages that no generation has ever experienced in human history. But when you talk to Gen Z and you hear statistics from the CDC, like 1 in 6 members of Gen Z contemplate suicide or 1 in 10 attempt suicide, we have problems much greater than just healthy eating. Now, the fact of the matter is, a lot of this is driven by the issue of affordability. And when a generation believes that their future will not be as bright as their parents' future, bad things are going to happen. And the generation believes that they will not be able to achieve that bright future that they were promised when they were younger. Now, one of the biggest elephants in the room in DC is that we run one of the largest health entitlement spending programs in all of human history. But for decades, these programs have been raided by fraudsters or special interest groups, and the future has been fettered away for Gen Z. We're tired of this. We've run out of time, and Gen Z's run out of patience for leaders who aren't going to take action. And that's why I want to thank here today Dr. Oz, Secretary Kennedy's others in administration, who are hunting down the fraudsters who have stolen billions of dollars from us and have in some ways stolen the future for a lot of these young members of Gen Z, and it made it harder for them to get ahead in life. So with that, Lily Kay, I want to ask a question to you, which is, how would you recommend for those Gen Zers and those young people out there, how can they demonstrate in their own lives MAHA activities, and especially affordable MAHA activities?
Yeah, let me start by putting it into perspective. The idea of preventative medicine is so important. You might spend just a slight bit more money now to keep yourself healthy while you're young so that you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in hospital bills when you reach your 50s. So the idea of MAHA is you put in the work now, you build incredibly healthy habits now, you understand how your body works, why your body works the way it does, you make better decisions for yourself in the current day so that you don't have to spend so much of your life fighting for it and paying for essentially every single day as you get older. So that's the perspective shift that I think a lot of Gen Zers need to have. In terms of immediate habits and affordability, though, I being a young person in this state of Texas where I'm from, there are farmers markets everywhere, local businesses you can support. There are local farms everywhere that you can go buy good, healthy products from people who have already done the research, who know what is good for you and what is not so good for you. I suggest making your own sourdough. If you do 2 loaves a week on average, if you bake 2 loaves of sourdough, your investment for that, time plus the actual financial investment, you'll save about, for the average family, $2,000 to $3,000 a year if you just bake your own bread. And I know that's like very, very trad, and there's a whole joke about trad wives and such, but it really is true. There's so much you can do to optimize and take control of your own health as a young person and learn how to actually cook well. I mean, I one time was doing a Pick Up the Mic initiative on a college campus with Turning Point USA, following in Charlie's footsteps, and a purple-haired liberal came up to me and said, "We should only be eating processed food because it is the food that has been made specifically for us to eat."
Really?
That was her argument.
Interesting.
That was her logic, because she says, because lifespans are longer today, clearly our food is better for us.
Wow.
And I was like, besides like the incredibly illogical statement of that, assuming that processed food is actually specifically made for our bodies is like taking us away from how God designed the world. And I asked her, what were people supposed to eat before? Were we just living in an unhealthy diet before? And the funny thing is like, the Lord has designed this world with everything that we need. And so the more natural we can get, the less chemicals we have in our food, the more we can take charge and localize our own eating and the costs of our food and the where we shop consciously. I mean, all of those things are choices that we need to make now to prevent us from being sick in the future and being reliant on our government or even the healthcare system at all for keeping us alive.
Well said. I'll have to break out the material to build some sourdough bread next time back home.
Or find a beautiful wife who will do it for you.
Very wise. Very wise.
Can you tell me more about Trump RX, though? I think that's an important program that you will have some insight into.
Absolutely. So, when the president called HHS and said, hey, I want you to lower drug prices by 90%, there's two ways you can react to that. You can say, oh man, Mr. President, I don't know, that's never been done before, nowhere close, I just don't think we could do it. Or you can figure it out. And this administration seems to live by the Reagan motto, America is too great for small dreams. And so when the president called, you better bet that we found a way to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
And as the president correctly pointed out, Trump RX is really about fairness. See, the issue at the heart of Trump RX is that in America, we develop, manufacture, and research all the drugs, or the majority of the drugs. And then our friends in foreign nations get to enjoy the benefits of that at a fraction of the cost that hardworking Americans pay. So when the president found that out, he said, that's not fair, we're fixing this. And so we did. And now you can go onto Trump RX today and you can reap the benefits of the president's guidance and the hard work of the administration and get some of the best deals on drug prices in the nation.
So you're telling me, just to reiterate, that we research these drugs, outsource the production of them to countries like China or somewhere else, and then they sell these drugs back to us at a marked up price?
Well, sometimes we even produce them here in the United States. Many times we do. And then we, again, pay more for them than our fellow friends in other nations, primarily Europe.
Dang.
But the one thing I'll say is that it was an incredible team that worked on Trump RX. It was a young team. And so I'll walk through the team because it's so small. It was a gal named Inma Hernandez, who is a drug pricing expert, a kick-butt lawyer named Rujal Desai, Joe Gebbia, the founder of Airbnb, myself, and then an engineer named Ed Korstein, who you may know as a Doge engineer called Big Balls. And he had a team of crack young engineers as well who worked on this. And normally, this project takes at least a year, millions, if not $1 billion to complete, thousands of people, vendors, contractors, but instead, it was done by a small team of young people, powered by Red Bull and Muscle Milk, and they did it in a matter of months. And they did it so well that we did a live launch with the President of the United States without a hitch. And this is a testament to what young people can do in this administration and in general when given the chance.
Amazing. Well, and also, MAHA is about having actual energy. Because, I mean, it's all about building a life that is sustainable and healthy for your specific body type so that men and women can actually function well throughout the day and accomplish these incredible things. Because you've heard it said that you can have 99 problems if you're healthy, but you only have one problem when you're unhealthy, and that's getting your body fixed. When you are sick, you are only focused on getting better. And the more sick that we are, the less productivity we're doing in our country, the less product we're churning out, the less social interaction we're having. And so MAHA, for young people is really just about having optimal energy and not being reliant on a system that is there to just continually take and take and take. And I talk to young women a lot of times about why feminism is such a thorn in the side of the way that they should exist in the world, but also, like, if you are unhealthy, you are going to be more open to leftist ideology, I believe, but also you are going to be less feminine. You're going to be less focused on feminine excellence. You're going to be less focused on the things that really matter, and you're going to be less able to be the fullest, most feminine, beautiful version of yourself. And it's the same with men. You are not going to be able to be the fullness of masculinity that I believe God has called every man to if you are unhealthy and you have bad habits and you don't have habits that build excellence. And so MAHA is not even just limited to policy, which you guys are doing an amazing job at and what you're representing, but it really is just being an active participant in your own life, choosing a life and choosing habits that build toward excellence, that build toward greater character, so that men and women can both be masculine, respectively, and feminine in the way that God has called us to be.
Amen.
Well said. I'll ask you this. Do you have any additional advice for young people out here in the audience or watching at home?
Vote with your dollars. Go support local brands. The most beautiful, fulfilling relationships that I have are with farmers markets and with people who sell products that are localized, who sell local eggs, who own local coffee shops and such. Those are beautiful relationships. Those people are always excited to tell you, and that's always how we can build community as well. So make choices that take you to where people are. Make choices that take you to where you can actually buy very, very good quality food, and then surround yourself with people who are building masculine or feminine lives and pursuing excellence in every area.
Well said. Well said.
Your turn, though. Give us some advice.
For the young people?
Yeah.
Here's my advice to young people. Be like Big Balls. Big Balls is, as I've mentioned, a 19-year-old Doge engineer working in the U.S. government. I think he's recently turned 20. But he commands immense respect across the administration, across government, and he literally commands a large team of engineers. Why I say to be like Big Balls is not entirely a joke. Young people, you have probably from the ages 18 to 28 to really grind and get things done in life. And after that, you get promoted. You get promoted to middle or senior management, and then you manage young people doing a lot of work. So, for the young people, I'd say make sure you're very careful and thoughtful around how you're using those young years. Everyone wants to get a piece of those years when you're young, whether it's college, even high school in some cases, but certainly your first job out of college wants to suck up all those productive hours from you that you can. And so what Ed has done is he has found a place where his hours, his productive hours, are most appreciated. And so he works for a man, Joe Gebbia, the founder of Airbnb, and he does great work for him. And he has such a high impact on what he does. And when he leaves, if he does leave government, he will not be forgotten, nor will it say, thanks, Ed. Now the next person will take your spot in the analyst or associate class. And that's simply not how the corporate world works. So when you're young, be very careful around how you fetter out those young, productive hours and years of your life. And that's why I recommend you be like Big Balls and you work for someone like Joe Gebbia or Dr. Oz, Chris Klomp, Secretary Kennedy, someone who really lets you take a swing at bat, attempt something, protects you if you make a mistake, and encourages you and coaches you to do the right thing, and you can really do impactful work.
It's incredible. That's the American dream and the American spirit right there. Praise God. And similarly, actually, for young women, be very conscious about what the world is asking of you when you are high school, college, and young adult ages, because feminism would love to take those years and suck them away from you and leave you 30, unmarried, childless, unhealthy, and only knowing how to use a microwave and not knowing how to cook your own food. And so you need to be very, very conscious about how culture is trying to steal those young, energetic years from you when you could be building a legacy and building something that truly, truly matters. I have a show called Let Him Mansplain where I'm talking to young men, young single men, about dating, relationships, marriage, masculinity, and femininity. And it's amazing because in society we have this idea that finding love is this like passive thing, that you fall in love. And the funny thing is you fall accidentally and unintentionally. But with love, you actually have to have a strategy. You got to go seek it out. Some of us are really lucky and, meet the person we're supposed to be with at high school, and other people aren't as lucky. And so if you're a young woman, I suggest that you really, really intentionally think about how you can find strategically the right person for you. You get a strategy together and make sure that you are pursuing the right things and the good things to build a traditional life of stability and legacy for yourself when you are young and energetic. And don't let feminism take away those young years that you have, because they would love nothing more than to suck those away from you, give it to a corporation, give you the title of girl boss, and then leave you high and dry when you're 35 or 40. So don't fall for those lies and just be so intentional.
Well, Kate, what do you want our generation to be known for?
I want our generation to be known for the recovery of marriage, of young marriage.
Woo!
That's really truly what I want. I want our generation to be also known for the generation that took back private property ownership, because this is actually what I see. If, the pro-lifers, which I'm 100% pro-life from the moment of conception, the problem is pro-lifers are telling people have more children than you can afford and just have babies. And I'm like, well, okay, to bring a baby from the hospital, you have to be able to bring him or her somewhere. And if you don't own like a house, or you're renting somewhere that's not permanent, that's really going to be difficult to create a family if you don't have home ownership. So I really hope, and I know the administration is doing a lot of work on this front, that home ownership can be easily achievable by the ages of ideally 23 to 25. Because if you're a man and you don't have a house, good luck trying to find a woman who is going to be ready to settle down with you if you don't have somewhere for her to settle and live in. And then good luck trying to find create a family to bring them home to what? Not a home. And so I really think the thorn in the side of Generation Z, and one of the actual practical reasons why people just are putting off marriage and putting off family creation, is because private property ownership and home ownership for young people is at an all-time low. I believe that the average age of first-time home ownership is up in its 30s. So it's no shock to me that people just aren't getting married, because you got to have a house. You got to have somewhere to bring your wife back to and bring your children back to. So I hope our generation is known for young marriages and young home ownership, because I think most of our problems would go away if we just did that.
Well said. Home for every young couple would be a fun future to shoot for.
C.S. Lewis once said that homemaking is the ultimate career. Every other career is just to support that one. I think that's so beautiful. But Noah, what do you want our generation to be known for?
I believe that we're called to be the reclamation generation. It's not just reclamation of the past and our heritage, it's reclamation of the future and the dream of a bright and better future. Gen Z will be the generation that stops doing the treatments and starts finding the cures. We'll be the generation that builds, and not just brings back the factories, but builds new ones. The ones that stops thinking about homes and home ownerships and starts thinking about finding a home in the stars. We had a bright and beautiful dream in this country. In 57 years, we went from the first flight at Kitty Hawk to the moon. The young people of Gen Z know that we have not kept up that trajectory. We are going to reclaim that trajectory. We're going to fight for the future that we were told could exist when we were kids. And we may not be the generation to reap the rewards of our efforts, but we will be sure that our children will. Gen Z is the reclamation generation, and it's not just reclaiming the heritage, it's reclaiming the future, the American pioneer spirit, and our manifest destiny.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity for us to speak with you guys today. Any last thoughts before we go?
I hope everyone can find some water quickly.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all being out here.
Thank you, everyone.